Hello and welcome, it's me, LinkingX2, back again with another draft review series. Today we see T1 facing LIV Sandbox. Both teams are in the upper echelons of the LCK at this moment, and well, you see it on the score, 8-5 and 7-5, T1 having played one series more than LIV Sandbox, but obviously don't underestimate LIV Sandbox, as they have taken down GenG more or less from first place and made it so that Nongshim could pass them. T1 also very powerful at the moment, are on a good win streak and have beaten Downward Kia in recent times. So both teams are quite on the upswing and are looking to secure spots in the upper echelons of the LCK. So before we get right into this draft, I ask of you again to maybe hit me up with a like and a subscribe if you want to not miss out on more draft review content. So, looking at the bans here already, we can see T1 banning quite a few top laners, right? The Renekton and the Irelia can be flexed into multiple positions, especially the mid lane, right? We saw quite a few interesting picks in the Dragon X Downward Kia series right before this one. For example, Renekton versus Trundle mid lane. So T1 probably paid close attention to that, and maybe they don't want to get surprised by any of that. And also, of course, Irelia very much overpowered at this point, well, 11.14, and Renekton, T1 always banning that champion, so that's quite standard. On the other side, Aphelios, Diana, and the Xinjiao, two out of these three champions here are usually being banned here on the red side, as their first pick value is quite high. Aphelios is a bit more on the stranger side, but of course, you don't really want to give T1 Aphelios Thresh after what Carrier did with that performance. Interesting here though is the Viego first pick, so T1 increasing the priority on that champion since their last series. They have two players who can play it, Canna and Oner, and of course Faker probably able to pilot it in the mid lane as well. But if we look at the ban already, we see that they have a strategy here. Interesting to see if the Galio does end up in the mid lane. On the other side here, Summit, Kalista being locked in for Prince. Don't underestimate Prince, right? Normally I would always give T1 bot lane the huge advantage in the 2v2s, and in this case I will still do that, but the difference is not that huge. Prince, especially on Kalista, showed up immensely against GenG, and effort, well, if you just look at the stats alone, you already are recognizing that he is right behind Carrier, maybe also in third place, but he is in the upper echelons of the support rankings as well. So Sandbox bot lane, quite potent, and getting the Kalista prior for them here, that's a decent pickup. Also here for the mid lane matchup, Faker versus Fate, the Rise, right? Both have played it quite a lot. I mean, Faker, I think he played it only once he didn't play it in the last like 5, 6, 7 games. So there's a huge priority on this pick. Obviously, Faker being the best Rise player of all time. Well, okay, he's the best player of all time regardless, but on the pick, Rise, he also is at the very top. So Fate here having the advantage of getting the pick here early, being secured by his team. And alongside the Rise pick, also the Lee Sin. Lee Sin, we're seeing a bit less and less of him over the last couple of days. He isn't that great anymore in the top lane and mid lane, so his flexibility in the draft is more or less gone. And in the jungle, there are a few matchups where he doesn't really do too much, but still, if the player is highly capable with the champion, of course, Lee Sin is still very, very valuable. In the bans here, just going shortly over it, T1 with the Wukong, with the Leona, banning stuff out that is very hard engaged, and hard engaged that can't really be stopped, right? The Leona ultimate from range, and an invisible Wukong coming in. Not really a lot you can do. T1 usually has this duo here as a ban duo for the second half, just to secure their comp a bit more safety. On the other side, Ziggs and the Braum are being banned from LIV Sandbox side. The Braum obviously has a short range stopper against Kalista Ryze and even Lee Sin in some extent. Let's pause here for a bit. And the Ziggs obviously against Gumayushi, well, was the trendsetter of the bot lane Ziggs. Then here we see the Gwen being locked in for Summit most likely. Yes, it can also go in different lanes, but if we look at this so far, we have mid lane, we have jungle, and we have AD, and it's not Gwen support. So Gwen top lane here for Summit, probably going to face the Viego here. Oh well, that's probably what they thought at this point here. With Galio might be a support champion, but the Galio Ryze matchup in the past at least has been decent for Galio. At the moment it is just that Ryze is just so much better, and Galio's numbers aren't up to par with him. So yeah, there's a good argument for Galio at this point in the draft to be a support, and especially here against Kalista, Galio is not really that bad of a choice. Last pick, versus Kalista, versus Alistar here, locking the Galio into the mid lane position, which, well, not a shocker, but, well, at least something. And the Varus Alistar against Kalista, not the best, right? Varus very strong laning, so Kalista will have to fight for lane pressure here. It's not easily gained for free. And the Alistar against the Ryze and the Lee Sin, obviously quite a decent pick to get rid of these short range champions or to attack them more reliably. T1 here overall having quite a lot of AD damage here in their comp, Varus, Galio, Varus, Lucian and the Viego, and still with the Galio Alistar they have a very strong engage and also protect comp, because, well, their ultimates, their combos can be used aggressively and defensively. And, well, T1, not with this roster obviously, but as a team have already shown in the past the Galio Alistar combinations that are possible. And just look back to like Worlds 2017, for example, where Faker was playing the best Galio there ever was. You sometimes saw him paired up with Wolves Alistar to a great extent. Sandbox rounding up their combo with the Gragas here in the support position. The Kalista Gragas combo, something that is gaining popularity. It's not something brand new, but it is resurfacing more and more internationally as well. It is just very powerful, very strong lane control, very strong level 6 fighting, skirmishes afterwards, and it's not super solid in the later stages of the game, but Gragas, even though he goes like AP, his ultimate will always be useful, even though he isn't that tanky, and AP Gragas can also easier build into Zonias, and Kalista, well, Kalista ulting in a Gragas body slam, Gragas ultimate can really disrupt the team fight quite nicely. So overall, can continue here. Overall, we see both teams have thought of something, right? The Kalista Gragas bot lane for the Sandbox is their super strong point here. Ryze for Fate is a high priority pick as well. The Lee Sin for Croc was more of a personal favorite for him than a super powerful pick. And the Gwen in top lane thought to be facing the Viego, but I mean, it was an option, right? It wasn't blocked and 100%, but that's something also where Summit got something nice. Even though now the matchup against Lucian is not that, let's say it's not that easy, but at least Gwen is still a very overpowered champion. So LIV Sandbox, they really got what they wanted. Powerful bot lane, the priority mid lane pick, something their jungler is comfortable with in the jungle, which also has a bit of early pressure to help stabilize mid lane and snowball bot lane even further. and now they also have a scaling top laner. Yes, there's no lane pressure there, but time moves on. They have a bit more of a late game condition there alongside Fate, while Prince, well, because he's so good on Kalista, probably won't fall off that much, but you know what it is. Even though you're great on the champion, there will be a bit of a dent in your power level. On the other side here, T1 locking in, yeah, a bit more composition based champions, right? Not really seeking to edge out in the individual stages of the game. Yes, the Lucian versus the Gwen is decent. It's very good. Yeah, usually can snowball, but that was something where Sandbox picked the Gwen into the Lucian. T1 just picked the Lucian for themselves early on. So that's not really their main idea behind the pick. It's just something to secure at least one winning lane with, I guess, Oner here as a jungler against Lee Sin. He can win the 1v1s, but that will take a bit of time and, well, time, XP and gold. So it's not something where he can pressure early with at all. Yes, Viego can gank early, but in comparison to early Lee Sin ganks, there's obviously a big difference in potency. As mentioned, the mid lane matchup here, Faker with the Predator. Yeah, he played that in solo queue, if I remember correctly, a while back. So obviously looking to push and then, yeah, roam, probably match the roams with Rise, his ultimate and his yeah, movement speed. And well, the thing is, Galio also doesn't really have any other super good keystones at the moment, right? He could go for like damage orientated ones with like Comet or Electrocute or anything of that sort, but yeah, that wouldn't be really too optimal, right? Considering that he can't really go for a super high damage build at the moment. Or well, maybe Faker surprises us, who knows. And yeah, in the bot lane, I mentioned that the Sandbox bot lane is very strong. Yes, on the other side is the Varus, but Alistar obviously is not the best laning support champion. So overall, for the laning phases, I have to give the edge to Sandbox. If they're able to snowball that, as they well usually do, they're in a very good spot come the yeah, mid-game stages, where they get online with their 1 to 2 item power spikes. On the other side, T1, obviously with their comp, they have great team fighting, a lot of damage, even though it is mostly AD. LIV Sandbox doesn't really have like tanks, so it's not that huge of a deal. And as often mentioned, AD yeah, still scales very nicely due to the new items in the game here. Okay, so that's what I meant. Yeah, Viego can do fine against Lee Sin, but not this early on. So, and Faker comes down. Very nice, very good for T1, 2-1. Well, then let's hope that that score continues here. Yeah, and then we will see each other in the draft review of game number 2. But till then, I ask of you to check down the description. You'll find all the social links, Twitter, Twitch, all that good shit. And if you're already down there, maybe hit up with a like and maybe subscribe to not miss out on future draft review content. So till then, stay safe and stay happy.